life finds a way.
In the heart of Mexico City, among the tumult of the early 20th century, lived Frida Kahlo, a woman whose body was shattered by polio as a child, and later by a devastating bus accident at the age of 18. Confined to her bed, wrapped in casts and corset, Frida did not sink into despair. Instead, she picked up a brush and turned a mirror onto herself, both literally and metaphorically. With each stroke on the canvas, Frida transformed her paint into vibrant, haunting works that were as much a celebration of life as they were a defiant rebuke to her physical limitations. I'll give you another example. Everyone now knows about Ludwig van Beethoven, a composer whose hearing began to deteriorate while he was just at the cusp of his career. By the age of 44, he was almost completely deaf. Yet, this profound adversity did not silence his creative voice. Instead, Beethoven adapted to this new reality, finding ingenious ways to continue composing. He sawed the legs off his piano to feel the vibrations of the notes through the floor, connecting with his music in an entirely new way. The compositions from this period of deafness are among his most celebrated, including the iconic Ninth Symphony. Can you guys see where I'm going with this? Part 1. The Tremendous Offensive. The past few years have seen an attack, not completely intentional, being made against artists worldwide. It is a very peculiar kind of attack, this AI art attack. Since the most hardworking, prominent, and successful artists are those whose works are most present on the internet, it is they who are best mimicked by the AI art systems, and thus they are the most threatened. This is incredibly unfair that the most hardworking would be most targeted. All these AI art models, whether it be Midjourney, DALL-E, Imagen, Stable Diffusion, etc., they're all trained in part on a now infamous dataset, the Lion dataset, with nearly 6 billion images, uncurated, scraped from the internet, without legal or ethical considerations. As a matter of fact, studying this dataset unveils deep flaws in the AI art models that we as artists can exploit to make our art stand out. I'll get into that in a future video, so subscribe if you're interested. But now let's get back to the subject. Basically, AI art models are trained to produce things that look like they would belong in the training data. This means it is a way to own a computer program that produces variations of what artists are paid to do, which just makes us artists a bit desperate. It seems to make us completely useless because it's a copy of us that is just contained within a computer. And there seems to be very little recourse for artists who are wronged in this way. The images on which the models are trained are only used in production through the weights of the AI art model. These weights don't contain the image, and it is impossible to determine from the weights of the model whether the AI art model has been trained on so-and-so image. So this is a hard blow for us artists, that there is now in this world something that can somewhat legitimately rip off our work. What if AI art became so prominent that no one wanted to go into art anymore? That it became so useless to learn these skills that no one would take it up, even as a hobby? Then we would be at risk of losing an entire form of language, visual language. So many messages that could be communicated would never be communicated. Is that what's going to happen? Part 2. It's not that bad. Some artists want to bury their hands in the sand. They come up with all sorts of false claims to make themselves feel more comfortable. But those of us who want to harness our traditional arts to the maximum in the age of AI must look the beast straight in the eye. So in this section, we're going to debunk some claims about AI arts to ground our perspective for the future. And we're going to see that once we look the beast in the eyes and we establish exactly what the threat to us looks like, it doesn't look that bad anymore. So let's debunk some claims. Claim 1. AI can or cannot take inspiration from its training data in the way that humans do it. Many AI proponents have claimed that the kind of image use that AI art models do is akin to humans taking inspiration from other artists. As someone who is both an artist and an AI researcher, I have to tell you that no one knows whether this is the case or not. The models are learned automatically without human interference. No one knows what they do. Heck, does anyone even know what humans are doing when they take inspiration? No one understands the brain, and no one understands the AI. So it's a completely pointless debate. Claim 2. Unlike humans, AI needs to look at millions of images to learn art. It's been claimed many times by artists trying to say that AI art is immoral, that humans, unlike AI, can just look at a few reference photos and produce artwork, whereas AI needs millions, even billions of images for that. To debunk this, we have to distinguish between what you do when you're making art and what you do when you're not. When you're not making art, you receive about 24 images per second on your retina. When you're 20 years old, that amounts to around 10 billion images. This means that at 20 years old, you've seen twice as many images as AI art models. Now let's look at the AI side. What does the AI do when it's not producing images? It's being trained. That's when it gets to see the 5 billion images in the lion dataset, for instance. And lastly, what do humans do when we are making art? We take a look at usually under 10 reference pictures. And what does the AI do when it is making art? It doesn't have any references. If you're doing text to image, it uses no reference images. It's generating your image entirely based on its weights. Claim 3. AI models know the images in the dataset by heart. Another false claim by artists who want to look the other way in the face of AI is that it remembers by heart all the images in the training set. This is not true. There's more images in the dataset than there are parameters in most AI art models. Even if you manage to compress each image down to a single number, which is impossible because even one pixel is 3 numbers, and there's usually hundreds of thousands of pixels in every image, you couldn't fit the images in the models. So this claim is also false. Part 3. There is no safety. We are back to the jungle. The whole point of this Art Post AI channel is to gain clarity on what are good and bad decisions to make if we don't want our artistic careers to be ruined by AI. So far, we've drawn quite a few lessons by thinking about all this stuff together on the channel, including in the comments. Here are 4 insights I've picked at random. Insight 1. Don't strive for traditional perfection. Tradition is what AI is trained on. Insight 2. Put the emphasis on deep feelings and physical sensations. You live in reality. The AI does not, so take advantage of it. Number 3. Transfer your other skills into your arts in a way the AI doesn't know how to do. And number 4, and we're gonna get to this one now, do not entrench yourself in a particular style and view, because AI will soon learn it. This last one, as I've said, is of particular interest here. AI is simply not innovative. Its very training objective is conservative. I went deeper into this in an early video on my channel. You can go watch it after you finish this one if you're interested. The fact that AI is trained to be scared of novelty means that even if you were to create 100,000 AIs, each specializing on mimicking every artist out there, none of them would be able to come up with the next big thing in art, or even imitate it until it had been around for a while. The problem is that so many artists nowadays are static. They learn the general concept art aesthetic, put a little bend on it, develop their personal style, but then they stay with it forever. In truth, AI is mostly competing with industry artists who sell their visual representation skills to companies who are just looking for the right image. To be honest, I feel like the right term for that kind of job is more like an artisan instead of an artist. In the traditional sense of the term, Picasso, Francisco Goya, Odd Nerdrum were artists in the traditional sense of the term, and people like them aren't quite threatened by the AI. To innovate and change is to save yourself from AI. And artists like that have innovation as their primary instinct. Again, this AI art thing is the hardest to deal with for people whose only tool as an artist was their visual style, a style from which they did not deviate and could not deviate, and they replicated it with every art piece almost mechanically. Don't get me wrong, every artist has a visual style. It sucks for everyone to lose that lever, but that's far from all we have. So where does this all leave us? In a world overflowing with pretty, well-composed images created by ever more skillful AI art models, what is the model for success for artists? While those on top of the art game, who already have an audience, use their established power to maintain their positions without fully having to adapt to AI, the upcoming artists, those who've yet to make a name for themselves, are left in the jungle. With your back to the river, you have to find a way through, or give up on your dreams of becoming an artist. What happens when you back somebody into a corner like that? They start trying out things they've never tried before. They hit you from angles you've never imagined. They dare to do what no one else ever did. This is the mindset that you need as an artist now. So artists, get back to the jungle. And if you need some help along the way, the Art Post AI channel will be there to give you a hand. Subscribe if you're interested in that, and I'll see you guys next time.
nights where colors blended and the canvas sang our soul. Now the silence whispers, haze taken control. Farewell to the strokes, the shades, the lines. Bye bye, AI, bye bye to the visions born.